in blocks, as Jamie said, of 15 block segments, and doing that per year. It's going to be very neighborhood specific and location specific. Right-of-way issues, traffic, engineering standards. And so it's hard for me to tell you exactly what each roadway is going to look like. But that's something we would work with the neighborhood associations and try to figure out how to do, for example, the entranceway features. You know, we kind of envisioned it and put some pricing in there as estimates of a sign that would be standard, a standard monument or whatever that feature would be. And each neighborhood would put their own neighborhood identification on it, so that you would know you're coming into College Park, you're coming off of Federal, or we would choose a couple of entranceway points. Those are a little more specific, and we haven't gotten into the details, but it's a fairly standard kind of a scheme. Most all existing utilities are located in alleys, waters, sewer, electric, gas, cable, phone. The roadways are predominantly storm sewer. Is there a plan to move the utilities to the street? If so, how do we move everyone's lines from the rear to the front? We've had conversations about this. We're not moving everybody's service out of the alleyway. It's just too cost prohibitive. It would totally bankrupt the city. So that's not part of this plan unless there is some location-specific issue in the road work that's being done that we factored into that project. So we're going to keep the alleyways at this point. One other thing I want to address before we end, we're going to be pursuing grants, and that's not really addressed fully in this. There hopefully will start to be more types of funding available in different capacities. For example, in the CDBG area, we call it core part of the city, we're going to be spending that federal money in that meat and potatoes roads and not for something that's a program or a want to. This is a have to. And there may be some other things that come up online with the state and with the federal government. We're going to actively pursue those. Secondly, and the commission's been very good about this, and you know, Commissioner Maxwell, who's now the president of the League of Cities for the county, lobbying the legislature for some money for our infrastructure, including the utilities. That's happened in the past. I think the city got $3 million a few years ago for a lift station. We might be able to offset some of these costs. The bottom line is, what would be approved if it goes to ballot is a dollar amount we would borrow, not to exceed. We wouldn't borrow it if we didn't have it for the specific projects. And hopefully we'd lower that, which would lower the resulting millage rate. And if we bring in more money to subsidize the program from grants or from turkeys, I'll call it that, in the legislature, that would also lower that amount, and the millage rate would subsequently be lower. So, those are all the questions. If anybody has anything in the audience, other yes, the answer is yes.
Well, I hope I'm not out of order, but while we're doing this master plan and trying to figure out how we're going to fix our roads to be with time, we are 100 years old.
Yes.
And I'm ashamed, I've been here 4 decades of 10 decades, that I have never seen the roads, the sidewalks. Nothing's been maintained. We have vegetation growing out of all the curbing, out of all the sidewalks, even on the main drags. When you come into our town from the 6th Avenue South exit, when you hit between Dixie and Federal, it's ridiculous. And right now, we've got one of the biggest potholes in town, right there as we're approaching the light when we're going west, where there's 3 lanes that divide. I hit it 4 times. You can't avoid it. And it's, I don't know if anybody's picked up a Subway sandwich at 2nd Avenue South, which is in downtown Jewel. You want our businesses to stick around here? I mean, I went to get my granddaughter a Subway sandwich on Sunday afternoon. I had complained about that road about a year and a half ago. The whole thing is a pothole. You can't even get between Dixie and J Street. It is horrific. No town should have a street in the downtown area that looks like that. So what I want to know is, what are we going to do to maintain it until we can dig it up and fix it, and also the drains? God help us if we have a major storm. Now, I've been here a long time. My street never floods unless there's really, really a bad, wet hurricane. And a few weeks ago, my husband and I went outside and I thought, God, where did all this water come from? Then we realized that our drain on the corner was not only totally clogged, I mean, after we got all the vegetation off of it, and the vegetation that was growing out of it was pulled out, every little drain hole in that drain was clogged with dirt to the point where when we were pulling it out, it was like rock not dirt, rock. So when we did our neighborhood cleanup last Saturday, my granddaughter and myself and my husband cleaned 6 drains. J Street was unbelievable. But I noticed J was really flooded when I came around the corner the other day. And now we're getting some torrential rain for a few seconds. But none of those roads accumulated water like that, you know, with a little flash of rain. But no water could get down. All 3 drains on J Street, between 6th and 7th, were clogged with like this rock dirt, besides the vegetation and grass of the garden. So how are we going to clean this? I mean, we got to do a cleanup.
You're absolutely right. The problem is our resources, we are stretched incredibly thin now. And Jamie might want to tell you about the resources we have to put towards that, but it's a dilemma. I know with the potholes, what we're trying to do is cut them out and literally put some gel rock and hot asphalt instead of doing the cold patch, which pops right back out, especially on 6th Avenue. It's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. And the school is there as well, and there's potholes on the north side of the school, so, I mean, this is the part, I mean, especially around our elementary school that's sitting right on the city street. This elementary school is not sitting back, it's right on the street. So, anyway, I mean, give me a shovel, give me the stuff, I'll go out and fill them up until we can get it done right, but you can't just dig the holes.
We're doing it right now, which is called a hot patch. We basically go out, we cut everything out with the salt, we cut around the pothole, cut everything out so you have a rectangle. We prep it, and we come back out the next day and we actually fill it with a hot mix asphalt. Prior to doing that, we've been doing a cold patch, which just doesn't hold as well. It's just not, that method's not, it's faster, but it doesn't work as well as hot patch. The only problem with hot patch is it takes time. We have a combined streets and stormwater department for the city with 4 people for the entire city. So our guys, I mean, just today alone, I got 7 emails on potholes. You know, the commissioners will forward me a couple more. We get calls in. So every day this list grows and grows and grows. So I have these 4 people kind of running crazy, turning them out every day doing pothole work when they should also be doing stormwater drain maintenance.
I've never seen the drains like this. That had to take a long time, but the street cleaners haven't been around either. I mean, we don't have the street cleaning thing anymore, or not?
Yeah, we do, and that's also 2 of those people.
Okay.
So keep in mind, you know, we have all of these different responsibilities, but we have the same people, so.
I'll take a shovel and help you fill in.
Yeah, what we're looking at doing, I actually talked to Steve about it today, is actually acquiring 2 part-time positions for the streets department. So at least that would give us, you know, an extra 58 to 60 hours a week, where we can have people out doing some of these things.
Well, I just feel like it's almost an emergency situation, because if a
absolutely.
motorcycle gets that puddle that I've been hitting,
It's
or if
all-
a bicycle
it's-
hits it in the dog
It's
park.
all over the city, and
Yeah.
this has taken 30+ years to get to this point. It's not going to change overnight, yes.
I live in this area around 40 years now. But in Lakewood, I lived 22 years. And I bought my house here on K Street. 2 years later, there was road work been done. They came and measured people, let that grass grow out into the road. They came and cut it all off. Then we asked for lighting. We had only the wiring from the church. We had break-ins right and left. But I personally called even the department. I said, yeah, this now, about a month now, you go down this street here, potholes, this deep. So you don't even can make a U-turn or something. You have to go over to J Terrace to avoid the potholes. You see, nearly right across here, but never anything. There was no cleaning since I moved in. Never anything been done. But if we had a pothole, I took 10, 12 calls. We take care of it. And many times wasn't even a person on the line. So I just was trying to tell you, when I'm a good taxpayer, I pay my water bill 2 months ahead. I pay everything 2 or 3 months ahead. But nothing has been done. Who I am?
I can't account for what happened in the past. All the staff you see here, Steve, you've probably been here longest. You've been, what, 2 years? We've come in to a really bad set of circumstances, and the city has neglected itself for many years. The economy and everything has also conspired to make things even more difficult. Your choices are clear. People here, we're a small group. There's not this huge group of people around the city anymore. Maybe several years ago when there was another 100 employees, but we've distilled down to a small functioning group of people. There's not a lot of resources or people out there doing work right now because we just can't afford it. So the choice becomes clear. We continue to bang along like we're doing and be angry that something's not being done or fixed, or we have an honest discussion. And what we're telling you is, in order to catch up, to reboot this city, this is a possibility, this is a way to do this. And it's going to mean fixing the roads again and catching up, and then maintaining them into the future. And being everybody's a fiscal conservative in government right now because there's no money. You have to be a fiscal conservative in government when you've got a lot of money. And it wasn't too long ago that there was a lot of money flowing through the city. I can't tell you where it is. It ain't in the roads. And I hear what you're saying. I have been I had to put people on my block senders list on my emails because they were so nasty and rude and angry at me because of the potholes. Oh, I know you're not. But there's just this general anger out there. What we're telling you in a very rational way is, here's one of several strategies we're trying to work to fix in the city. This addresses the potholes. So that's going to be a choice at some point you are going to have to make.
But if we have a very wet tropical storm, we're in a state of emergency right now. So we won't be able to travel on our roads at all.
I spend my day choosing which child to feed.
Okay.
And a lot of them
That's
go
my
hungry at
concern.
night. I can't
We're not
get
gonna
to
be able
them.
to
Yeah.
drive.
Mr. Borstein, when you were mentioning about, you had a question earlier about the sanitation, water mains, everything in the alleyways.
Yes.
My question is, even though we're focusing on roads, are we going to upgrade some of the infrastructure in the alleyways?
One of the discussions we've had is completely digging up and regrading and re-shell rocking new all the alleyways. The alleyways, good, bad, or different, do serve some drainage capacity in a lot of areas. We don't want to upset that, but they are in terrible shape. They are just awful. So that would be one part of the program would be to dig them up and re-shell rock them fresh.
And the ones that are green lights, we're leaving them green lights, correct?
The alleyways, I don't know if we've gotten to that level of discussion yet.
No, they take care of that, I must say.
They know those. That's done by the utility department. That's not actually done by our guys. Is there any other?
Any other questions?
questions?
Well, thank you so much. I know this
It's a
was
lot of
a
information.
lot of information, and you actually spoke with us tonight longer than you spoke at the visioning session with the entire city commission. So
This is important.
thank you very, very much.